Hi friends, I'm author and publisher Mark David Welsh and welcome to my TBR video for October 2025. Hi guys and welcome to my 2025 October TBR video, in which I'll be going through the books I'm hoping to read in October this year. But I am the world's most disorganised person, so it's probably unlikely that I'll get through them all, maybe not even any of them, but we'll see. Now, the first thing to mention is that my TBR currently stands at 211 physical books. That's not counting the ones I've got digitally, although I must admit that total is considerably smaller, probably a couple of dozen. But I had to buy this entire bookcase over my left shoulder there to house my TBR, and there is an overspill bookcase downstairs as well. So yeah, I'm not the best in getting round to reading everything. Now, looking at BookTube elsewhere, I noticed some other creators use kind of involved methodology in order to select what books they're going to try and read. There's one girl who, Meg with Books she's called, she's got a very well-known channel I believe, who uses this bizarre homemade Cluedo board with lots of different counters and things, and a huge dice that she throws to decide what book she's going to read. I think she makes up some of the rules as she goes along, to be honest. But yeah, it's incredibly involved and far too organised for someone like me, I have to say. I just pick them. I just go around and I think, I fancy reading that and I fancy reading this. And that is why, in all likelihood, some of these books will not be read in October, simply because I will suddenly get the urge to read something else. Because, yeah, I'm not organised at all. In fact, I hate organisation. I hate it with a passion. I hate routine. So yeah, I'm always likely to be doing something completely different from what I intended to do. But right now I intend to drink some coffee. Right, let's get into the books. Now, this month I'm also intending to do a spooky 48-hour reading marathon even. And I have picked some books for that, and they're all spooky ghost story horror things. So I've actually put 6 aside, but I won't get through all 6 because I just like to have some choice and have some flexibility rather than have a fixed schedule. So those aside, I'm going to be showing you 8 books I'm hoping to read this month. I'm probably not going to get through all 8. I think that's unlikely. I did do 8 last month. If you saw my my September reading roundup, you'll know I got through 8. That's a little more than I normally manage, so I doubt whether I'll do all these 8. And as I say, I may not do any of them. No, I will do some of them, most definitely. So where to begin? Well, let's begin with, let's have a look at some Lost World literature to begin with. As I grab those off the ladder, which is off screen. I must do something about getting a better arrangement actually than having a ladder standing there. But there you are. That's the arrangement right now. So let's go through the couple of Lost World books I'm intending to read this month. The first one should be quite an easy read, hopefully. It's the movie tie-in novelisation for Warlords of Atlantis, a 1978 classic with Doug McClure and Peter Gilmore. And some names too. Sid Charisse is in it, very strangely enough, who you probably won't have heard of unless you follow movies from the 1950s. She was mainly a dancer who did musicals, but yet she turns up in Warlords of Atlantis. And this is the novelisation by a guy called Paul Victor, and I hope to be reading that this month. Next up, another Lost World, bit of Lost World literature, and that's this one. Edward S. Ellis, The Land of Mystery. Now, I know nothing about this, absolutely nothing about Ellis, nothing about the book. It just cropped up on a list of Lost World literature that I refer to, and it was cheap. There you go. That's the reason that's here. Another movie tie-in actual here, which isn't Lost World literature, but I did want to include this because I quite fancy reading it, because I think it's proof that almost every film back in the 1970s had a tie-in novelisation, because this is an obscure B picture from producer Roger Corman in America, which starred David Carradine, some few years after he made a huge success on Kung Fu on television. And this is Death Sport, a post-apocalyptic, well, I've seen the film, I can't really call it a thriller. It's an incredibly cheap production. The fact that this exists as a novel is proof to me, as I say, that everything got a tie-in novelisation back in the day, because this is one hell of an obscure movie. Following on from those, which will probably be quite easy reads, I would think. Well, we've actually got... Oh, this is so well organised. We've actually got a very similar book next, which is part of my quartet of books that were turned into films in the 60s and early 70s by Amicus Movies in the UK, science fiction rather than horror. And this one is Scream and Scream Again, which actually was originally titled The Disorientated Man, which I think is an incredibly awful title for a book. And it was written by Peter Saxon. Only it wasn't, because Peter Saxon didn't exist. So this was basically a house writer wrote this for the publisher, and I don't think anyone even knows who it is, or who it was rather. This was turned into Scream and Scream Again, as I say, the movie, which starred amazingly Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing and Vincent Price, which, what a lineup. You think it would be a classic. Unfortunately, it's very much not a classic as a film. And in fact, one of the reasons I mainly did want to read this book was to see if it made any sense, because the film certainly doesn't. Yeah, so there's that one. So that really fitted in with the first batch I showed you. But the next couple, slightly different. This is the first time in a while I've revisited Los Angeles in the company of Easy Rawlins. And Walter Mosley's detective turns up in this later novel from the series, Rose Gold. Now, I'm a big Easy Rawlins fan, there's no question about that. I love it. I love the character. I love the American history lesson through the eyes of a black man that we get. I think I find it so fascinating being a white guy who grew up somewhere hundreds of miles away with a totally different life experience. I think that's part of the reason I like these books so much. Yeah, and that's the latest one I haven't read. I am a bit behind. I think there's two more after this, and this one I think maybe even 10 years old. But yeah, so I've got a bit behind, so I need to catch up with that. Next up for spooky season, I'm debating whether to read this, which is Matthew Gaskill's Witchfinders, which is a historical factual book about the practice of witch finding back in the Middle Ages in the UK. I don't know hardly anything about the factual side of witch hunting, of witches and witchcraft back then, and I kind of really want to know. It's something that's piqued my interest recently, and I'll really be fascinated to find out about it. I think it started when it occurred to me that, yes, I remember what it was. Somebody had posted something online about Salem, and about how during the holiday season, the Halloween season, it's really rammed. It's like a tourist hotspot. And all the locals kind of leave town if they can, because it's so much aggro. And I thought, well, that just suddenly struck some chord in the back of my mind, which was like, I don't actually know anything about the Salem witch trials. Nothing really. And I thought, well, why don't I know anything about it? Why has there never been a film of it, apart from versions of The Crucible by Arthur Miller, which is kind of a take on it? Yeah, so I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to start finding out about real life history of witchcraft? So that's why this is here. It's spooky season, so I'm probably going to get round to it. There are other books I have as well on the same subject, but I just selected this one for this video, so I might read one of those as well. Who knows? And oh, talking of which, this is so well organised, isn't it? Oh god. Okay. Yeah, I have got another one of them sitting here. This is England's Witchcraft Trials by the wonderfully named Willow Winsham. And I really do hope that's her real name. Yes, I'm so organised I forgot that was on the pile as well. So yes, same comments as the last book. And the final one I've got to show you that I'm probably going to get round to, maybe, possibly, is an actor's autobiography, because I'm a huge film nut, and I do have many, many books on the subject, many of them unread and sitting in that bookcase over there. But this one I am planning to read, definitely, positively this month, and that's Once a Saint by Ian Ogilvy, which has got some rave write-ups actually. People are saying this is really very entertaining indeed. I remember Ogilvy from Return of the Saint in the UK on the TV, but more particularly, I think, from the couple of late 60s movies he made for director Michael Reeves. The Sorcerers with Boris Karloff, and of course, feeding into the witch-finding theme, Witchfinder General with Vincent Price. So I'll be interested to see what his memories are of those. Yeah, so those are the books I'm planning to read for October. I'm probably going to read some totally different ones. No, I'm going to read some of these, most definitely. I promise you, faithfully. And, well, you can check up on me in my October Reading Roundup video when that gets posted this time next month. So that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. I hope it wasn't too painful. And, oh, more coffee before I sign off. Yeah, keep digging through those buckets in second-hand bookshops. Keep looking online in these obscure sellers, because there still are some real treasures to be discovered out there. Cheers. Oh yeah, press the like, subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Yeah, I must start saying that at the start of these videos. That's what I should do. Note to self. Hi guys, and welcome to my 2020